Can I start this session or shall I wait? We have five participants, of course. Shall we start?
Hello, ma'am. Good evening.
Good evening.
I think you can start because that sir hasn't given any response till now. But this class is already started recording.
Okay, okay, okay. Hmm. Is my screen visible?
Yes,
Are,
ma'am.
are the slides visible? Are the slides visible?
It's visible.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, can I change? Is it changing?
Yeah, it's moving, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, today actually the topic is on monitoring of biomedical waste management. But before we go into monitoring, let's look at what our BMW rules say. Okay, this is the rules. What presently we are following is the BMW rules of 2016. Actually, in your Block 4, there are lots of other legislations which they have looked at in the Southeast Asia region, as well as our rules of 2016. Let's look at what our rules says, because without knowing our rules we may not be in a position to monitor appropriately. Okay, I know most of you know what the rule says. Let's have a quick recap of whatever it means. Okay, now they have defined biomedical rules of 2016. They have it is by the Ministry of Environment and Forest Climate Change. It's under the Environment Protection Act. These rules have been shared. They define biomedical waste as means as any waste which is generated during the diagnosis, treatment, or immunization of human beings or animals, or research activities pertaining thereto, or production or testing of biologicals or in health camps. So this is what is the definition of biomedical waste. Now, where all this biomedical waste applies is it will apply to hospitals, it will apply to nursing homes, clinics, dispensaries, veterinary institutions, animal houses, pathological laboratories, blood banks, clinical establishment, research or educational institutions, forensic laboratories, and research labs. These were already there prior, even before the 2016 rules came in. These was there. Now, what they have added extra is Ayush hospitals, health camps, medical and surgical camps, vaccination camps, blood donation camps, and first aid rooms of the schools have also been included under the BMW rules. What does it imply? That means to say anybody with anyone who has all these locations or these services need to take prior permission for generation of biomedical waste. Now we look at what is an occupier means. An occupier is a person who has an administrative control over the institution which is generating. It could be can anything. You can call it by a clinic, you can call it as a hospital, or you can call it any other name as you deem fit. But whoever has the administrative control, we call him as an occupier. Now, what are the functions of this occupier is that they need to take all measures to see that biomedical waste is safely disposed of in such a way that it does not cause harm either to the environment or people the people handling at the same time to the general public also. That is what is basically looked at in as an occupier. So for them to do these things, what all is required is first is they have to provide provisions so that segregation is done properly, provisions for transportation, provision for storage of these biomedical waste, and also provision to see that people who handle the waste are trained appropriately and use appropriate personal protective devices. So to protect the people who are handling waste, they also need to ensure that they are immunized, and they do conduct a health checkup every year. So this is what is the features or the salient, the what a occupier should do as per the rules. And these are the waste management committee. I'm not going, there's something called as authorization which we need to get. That means to say, authorization is something that you are applying to the government and telling that, look, I am generating so much of waste, that to biomedical waste, so please grant me permission for that. Whether you are generating, collecting, or receiving, or storage, if you do any of these things, you need to get authorization from the state pollution control boards, any of the pollution control boards, whether it's the state or the union territory, for you to for you to, I mean, they you need to get an authorization. Now there are different ways the authorization is given, that is given in the rules. I think there's another, and every year you need to submit by 30th of June, you need to submit a annual report if you're a hospital or any center for that matter. Now what all that report contains is, it contains quantity of waste that is generated, the size and capacity of the on-site storage room, the minutes of the meeting, the details of the training that is conducted, any major accidents that have happened, and how the liquid waste treatment is done. So these are some things which are included in it. And you also need to maintain the records for 5 years. What all records you need to keep, the quantum that is generated, who is collecting it, receiving the storage form of it, and any pre-treatment mechanisms that you are doing, and all these things, and the training that you have done, all these records, the health records of the the waste handlers, all these things need to be maintained for at least 5 years. Now there are different forms in this biomedical waste management rules. Form 1 is for accident reporting, form 2 is application or authorization, form 3 is for non authorization again, 4 is an annual report, form 5 is for appealing. If there is any, if they have given you a notice or something, that is what you appeal for it, that stating that what you have done is correct, or reasons why it has been done. Now there is something called as the standards for disposal of biomedical waste. Now as per the rules, we have, there is uh, schedule 2 looks at standards of incineration, all the disposal mechanisms it looks at. Now schedule 3 is what the authorities do and what is their corresponding duties is there in the schedule 3. Schedule 4 looks at the symbols of biohazard symbol and cytotoxic symbol, and what will happen if there is a non compliance of rules is they are punishable at least to 1 lakh or 5 years of fine. So whatever it is, they are punished. Now, before that, can I? There is schedule 1 which looks at the segregation practices. Can somebody tell me what are the segregation practices that are used in our country? The color codes. Can somebody tell me that? Because that is important for us to know. If we do not know that, then monitoring cannot be done.
कलर
Uh,
कोडेड बेन्स यूज करते हैं मैम.
हाँ, कौन सा कलर किसके लिए और
येलो
कौन से
कलर
कलर?
फॉर
ye-
ह्यूमन एनाटॉमिकल वेस्ट,
Mm-hmm.
रेड फॉर प्लास्टिक एंड रबर, blue for glass, and white for needles and puncture
Okay,
things.
good. So this is what is mentioned here, mentioned in the schedule 1, and it also looks at how this needs to be disposed of is also given in that particular schedule. Okay, let's go. This is the most common violations you see. You can, what will happen if what will, when you are monitoring? Why are you monitoring any system? What do you mean by monitoring? And what do you understand by the word monitoring? Monitoring का मतलब क्या है? क्या देखना है आपको?
Ma'am, it should be means general waste and infected waste should not be mixed.
हाँ,
That
वो
should
बात,
be
that
monitored.
is fine, that is fine. But what do you mean by monitoring?
प्रॉपर सेग्रीगेशन हो रहा है या नहीं, नीडल स्टिक इंजरीज एंड
Okay, no, to put it across, you have established a system for segregation, collection, transportation, and storage. Right? This is a system of waste management, and you have set it up based on the rules. Now you need to see whether people are following it or not. I'll give you another example. There are road traffic rules. Agreed? All of you know about traffic rules, na?
Yes, ma'am.
Road traffic rules. Now, all of us know if we have to walk on the left side, and you have to wait at the intersection when there is a red light. If there is a and you cannot cross the red line, you have to stop your vehicle before the zebra crossing so that the pedestrians can cross. You only have to cross the road at the zebra crossing, and you cannot be walking in between. We all know these rules, but how do you know that these rules are being implemented? What do they do? You have surveillance cameras, right? If any vehicle violates any of these things, they put a fine or a penalty, isn't it?
यस मैम.
There's somebody who's looking at, okay, whether the people are following or not, or all the vehicles following the rules or not. They're looking at it, na? Similarly, this is a system what you have established. Now you need to have another system also to see whatever you have said whether people are following it or not. ठीक से सिस्टम काम कर रहा है या नहीं, ये बात भी हमें देखना पड़ता है. अगर काम नहीं कर रहा है तो कहाँ पर है इसका प्रॉब्लम, उस प्रॉब्लम को कैसे सॉल्व करें, ये सब भी देखना है. इसलिए उसे मॉनिटरिंग कहते हैं. तो मॉनिटरिंग करना है तो क्या मॉनिटरिंग करना, पहले ये पता करना चाहिए. सो दीज आर सम ऑफ द थिंग्स व्हिच वी विल जनरली फाइंड. You know the color codes, right? They are blue, red, yellow, blue, and white. Now look at these bins. One is a black bin with an yellow cover. The other one is a white bin with a black cover. Now, what is the problem with these bins? What will happen if such bins are there? One can argue it's okay that yellow color bin is there. They'll understand that it is yellow waste.
And
Anything
even the
else?
person who is coming for discarding, that person will also get confused in which what
Which,
waste should be gone.
so what will happen
Either
when
is
when
either
that,
should
huh?
black or yellow.
No, in that case, what will happen when they are confused?
Ma'am, of course, mixing of the waste will occur.
Exactly. When there is a mixing of waste that happen, your segregation practices are
Segregation
gone.
will,
Correct?
yes,
You are not doing proper segregation is what.
proper segregation.
So therefore, for us, we have to be. It has to be important that the liner and the bin are of the same color. You cannot have colors which are different and expect the segregation to have very nicely. And what are the other things that you can find? You'll generally have one general waste in an yellow color bin or a red color bin. Have you noticed this?
Yes, ma'am.
This is a quite common thing which we find. It's like mixing up of waste is there. And another thing is when you're transporting it. Transportation also you will have a problem because even during transportation segregation has to be maintained. So can you look at the two trolleys how they are when they are transporting it? Both are wrong. You should have a closed trolley for you to transport it. And in the first image though, waste is actually spilling out. The waste bags are too huge and they're spilling out. So that is another thing what you need to look at. The transportation has to be in a closed trolley, and segregation should be maintained even during transportation also. Now there is this is another problem what we have. We will aram se burn everything, thinking that burning will take care of it. And in many places you will find cattle or dogs which can access that particular site, and they'll be feeding on it. This is one thing which we need to avoid. We should not be doing, even if we have a deep burial system, it should be in such a way that anybody and everybody should not have access to it. Only a authorized person should have access to it. And another problem what we face here is you find lot of plastic waste that is generated in a hospital. What they do with all the plastic waste, they sell it to an unauthorized kabadi walas or something, because plastic is taken now. Instead, you have to give it to an authorized waste handler. Okay, so what we need to remember in new rules is there is one time authorization for non-bedded, and biomedical waste is classified into four categories. You need to pre-treat laboratory waste and microbiological waste and blood samples and blood bags, and phase out the use of chlorinated plastic bags and gloves, and establish the barcode system and report any major accidents. These are some of the major things that the present rule of 2016 has come in. Now, there should be a committee, biomedical waste management committee, if the hospital is more than 30 bedded. If it is less than 30 bedded, you can designate a nodal officer. Training has to be done and the records have to be maintained. You need to immunize all the health workers against tetanus and hepatitis B. There should be a provision for final storage room within the healthcare facility, and no untreated waste to be stored beyond 48 hours. And no on site treatment and disposable facility is allowed if there is the service of common biomedical waste treatment facilities available within 75 kilometers. What are the implications of this? That means any hospital or a lab which is generating biomedical waste, it has to pre-treat. Means it needs to have provisions, either chemical method or any other heat method, so that it can pre-treat whatever the biomedical waste that is generated and then given. Not all biomedical waste requires pre-treatment. Only laboratory waste, anything, any of the blood bags and blood which is discarded, or blood bags which are discarded, needs a, these are the ones which require pre-treatment. Okay, and one more thing, what it means if they say there is no on-site treatment facility that will be allowed, means within the hospital you cannot install an incinerator and start treating your waste when there is another common biomedical waste treatment facility that is available within 75-kilometer radius. So everybody who is generating waste need to have an MOU with a common biomedical waste treatment facility person, so that all your waste is handled by the common biomedical waste treatment person. So this is what we looked at for the rules. Now, are we clear with the rules? Are we clear with the rules?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So if you have to monitor in your hospitals, what are the things that you are going to monitor? Because monitoring here ensures that you are abiding or you are following the rules of 2016. So what are the things that you are going to keep in mind if you have to look for monitoring? Come on.
मैम फर्स्टली तो मिक्स मैच नहीं करेंगे
Huh.
कलर बीन और कलर क्लोरिनेटेड बैग्स को.
Correct.
सेकेंडली
Huh.
वेस्ट को भी मिक्स नहीं करेंगे.
Huh?
वेस्ट मिक्स नहीं करेंगे, मतलब रेड
ठीक
का
है, ठीक है,
येलो।
मिक्सिंग ऑफ वेस्ट, ठीक है। देन उसके बाद
Ma'am, transportation, the
हाँ,
trolley should be completely covered. It should not be overlapped. The waste should not be overlapped.
श्योर, गुड।
Um,
देन
और मैम
then
सबसे बड़ी बात ये कि जो हमारा बैग है वो 1/3 ही होना चाहिए और वो प्रॉपर बंद होना चाहिए।
आप फिर से बताएंगे थोड़ा, सुनाई
मैम
नहीं
जो
दी।
प्रॉपर बैग है, जो बीन्स हैं, उसकी जो
हाँ,
पॉली बैग है वो 1/3 ही होना चाहिए, देन और प्रॉपर कवर होना चाहिए और बंधा होना चाहिए
हाँ, बंद
जब
होना
हमें
चाहिए।
ट्रांसपोर्ट करना है 1/3 से।
हाँ, ठीक से बांध के, ठीक से बांध के ट्रांसपोर्ट करना चाहिए।
and it should be labeled also.
Should be
Like
labeled also. Yes, very good. So should be labeled. It has to be transport appropriately. You have to segregate the waste appropriately. So ये सब hospital में चला. This is what is observed in the hospital. ठीक है? Then और क्या है hospital में?
ma'am, untreated waste should not be stored for more than 48 hours.
Okay, there should be a place where you are keeping the waste. So from that place, it needs to go away within 48 hours. So that means what?
Ma'am, for example, general waste and all, it is not treated.
Huh. No, we are don't mix up general waste and biomedical waste. It has to be only biomedical waste which has to be
Okay.
treated. Okay. General waste is a different. There are different rules which regulate the general municipal solid waste. Let's
Okay.
not get into that.
Okay.
So if you say it has no untreated waste should not be stored beyond 48 hours, means what does that imply? That means at least once in 2 days, your common treatment facility person should come and pick up the waste.
Yes. Okay.
है ना?
Yes, ma'am.
रोज लेके जाना चाहिए, मगर कभी कभी नहीं आए तो विद इन 48 hours he has to pick up the
It
waste.
should be covered. Okay.
इसका मतलब I mean does that mean that रेड कलर का वेस्ट और वो वाइट कलर का वेस्ट cannot, that also needs to go off? These waste can be stored beyond 48 hours, but not the one which is there in the yellow color bin.
Yellow color.
Any infectious waste should not be there. Huh. Then what else will you monitor?
मैम
Tell
मे
me
बी
what.
प्रॉपर डॉक्यूमेंटेशन।
Yes, very good. What all you need to document?
मैम हाउ मैनी वेस्ट, कि अभी वहां से कितना वेस्ट गया है, हमने ट्रांसपोर्ट कितना किया है, और उसका प्रॉपर लेबलिंग होता है बाय टू स्कैन करते हैं हम, उसके बाद हमें प्रॉपर वेट पता होता है और फिर देन उसका एंट्री होता है और
हाँ।
मंथली वो हमें रिपोर्ट सबमिट करनी होती है।
हम्म। अगर मंथली आप हर रोज ये रिकॉर्ड आप कर दिए तो मंथली या फिर एनुअली आपका रिपोर्ट जनरेट करना मुश्किल नहीं होता।
यस
अगर
मैम।
आप रोज नहीं करते तो ये क्या होता है, एनुअल रिपोर्ट जनरेट करने में बहुत दिक्कत हो जाती है, और वो जो भी आप नंबर्स जो लिखते हैं वो सब मेमोरी के हिसाब से लिख जाते हैं, वो सही पिक्चर नहीं दे पाता। और क्या, व्हाट एल्स यू विल ऑब्जर्व? अगर आपको कहीं पर भी ये सिस्टम ठीक से काम कर रहा है या नहीं कर रहा है, आप अगर देखना चाहते हैं तो और क्या-क्या देखेंगे? आपने सेग्रीगेशन के बारे में बताया, ट्रांसपोर्टेशन के बारे में बताया आपने, और क्या-क्या ऐड कर सकते हैं? आप बताइए।
मैम हाउसकीपिंग स्टाफ वैक्सीनेटेड है या नहीं?
हाउसकीपिंग स्टाफ
वैक्सीनेटेड है या नहीं?
वैक्सीनेटेड है या नहीं? ठीक है। हाउसकीपिंग स्टाफ जो भी वेस्ट हैंडल करते हैं, उनको वैक्सीनेशन मिला या नहीं? कैसे
हम्म।
पता करते हैं आप?
मैम इनका एक चार्ट होता है जो कि मतलब जब उनको हेपेटाइटिस बी या टीटी का
हुँ।
वैक्सीन लगता है तो उनको हम प्रॉपर जब डोज पूरा होता है तो हम इनको एक सर्टिफिकेट देते हैं, वो सर्टिफिकेट चेक करके।
ठीक है, वो सर्टिफिकेट उनके पास रहता है, अपने पास तो नहीं रहता ना। जो भी पोल्यूशन कंट्रोल बोर्ड के ऑफिशियल्स जो आते हैं ना,
हम्म।
वो एडमिनिस्ट्रेटर से पूछते हैं,
यस मैम।
आपके पास प्रूफ क्या है कि आपने सबका इम्यूनाइजेशन करा है और सबका ट्रेनिंग किया है आपने?
मैम
तो
हमारे
उससे
पास रिकॉर्ड्स रिकॉर्ड्स होते हैं उसके।
हाँ, उसके वो इम्यूनाइजेशन किया है बोल के उसका रिकॉर्ड्स हमें एडमिनिस्ट्रेटर के पास भी रहना चाहिए।
यस मैम।
ठीक है, और क्या देखेंगे आप? अस्पताल में क्या क्या देखेंगे आपने? और एक बात है, और एक there's another one feature which you need to look at. What is the other one? We looked at segregation practices, we looked at transportation practices. Madam has told about immunization, records of immunization. Then training has also been included. Is there anything else you'd like to add on? There are two more aspects that you need to look at. Agar aap, if you divide this into three different areas. One is the process of generation, two is the administration, and three is management inputs. If we look at it in these three aspects, when you look at the process, अगर आप इसे तीन हिसाब से डिवाइड करेंगे तो पहला प्रोसेस है प्रोसेस वो जनरेशन सेग्रीगेशन ये सब आ जाएंगे। दूसरा है एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव एस्पेक्ट, मतलब आपने बताया ना वो रिकॉर्ड सब रखना है और रिपोर्ट क्रिएट करना है, क्या क्या रिपोर्ट्स जनरेट होंगे, क्या क्या डॉक्यूमेंट्स हमारे साथ रहना चाहिए एज एन एडमिनिस्ट्रेटर अगर किसी ने मॉनिटरिंग के लिए पूछे तो। ठीक है, तो these are certain things which we need to look at. And managerial input in the sense it will be like about patient care, paramedical staff, they are being trained or not, those things will come under. About the management impact, how this will impact the public and other people, that will go little later. All right, so let's look at the administrative organization process one. प्रोसेस में क्या क्या है आपने बताया कि सेग्रीगेशन, बिन्स रहना चाहिए और ट्रांसपोर्टेशन ठीक से होना चाहिए। आपने एक चीज मेंशन नहीं की, वो है स्टोरेज। वो कॉमन ट्रीटमेंट फैसिलिटी वाले आकर लेके जाने से पहले कुछ देर के लिए स्टोर करना पड़ता है, एक जगह पर रखना पड़ता है, उसे हम स्टोरेज कहेंगे। उस स्टोरेज कैसा है ये भी देखना पड़ता है। उस स्टोरेज बंद होना चाहिए हर जगह से, ओनली ऑथराइज्ड पर्सन ही अंदर जा सकता है, किसी अनऑथराइज्ड पर्सन को विल नॉट हैव एक्सेस टू इट। उसमें पानी का they should have a facility for water so that it can be kept clean. There should be washing facility so that whoever is the person who's standing, who's maintaining the common the storage area has facility to clean the bins as well as clean himself. There should be a facility, separate facility for him to store the personal protective devices, whatever he's wearing, like gloves, aprons, gum boots, ये सब ढंग से रखने के लिए एक ढंग का जगह चाहिए उन लोगों को। ठीक है, और दूसरी बात हमने भूल गए कि प्री ट्रीटमेंट कैसा रहता है। अगर आपके पास लैबोरेटरी है, ब्लड बैग आप जनरेट करते हैं, या फिर इफ देयर इज एनी कल्चर और एनीथिंग दैट यू डू, देन that has to be pre-treated before it is sent to the common treatment facility. Why we are doing that? करने की ज़रूरत है क्या? अगर एज एन अगर आपके एडमिनिस्ट्रेटर आपसे पूछे, वैसे ही हम कॉमन ट्रीटमेंट वालों को पैसे दे रहे हैं ये सब करने के लिए, फिर हमें फिर से क्यों करके उनको भेजना है? ऐसे ही बेच सकते हैं ना, क्यों करना है प्री ट्रीटमेंट? क्या
To reduce the
इम्पोर्टेंस?
chance of infection to the transporter.
हाँ, so to prevent during the period of transportation, to prevent infection from spreading, that's why you do a pre-treatment. कैसे कर सकते हैं प्री ट्रीटमेंट? आप केमिकल्स यूज कर सकते हैं, नहीं ना, नहीं तो हीट प्रोसेस यूज कर सकते हैं, लाइक ऑटोक्लेव और समथिंग यू कैन यूज इट, और हाइड्रोक्लेव इफ यू हैव इट, ऑटोक्लेव और माइक्रोवेव। ऑटोक्लेव तो हर जगह रहता है। ऑटोक्लेव इज वन थिंग विच यू कैन फाइंड इट इन मोस्ट ऑफ द हॉस्पिटल्स। Now remember, this has to be a separate autoclave, not the same autoclave that can be used for स्टेरलाइजेशन. यू गॉट द पॉइंट. ये अलग सा रहना चाहिए, उसमें सिर्फ वेस्ट डाल सकते हैं और कुछ नहीं डालेंगे. सिर्फ वेस्ट को स्टेरलाइजेशन या डिसइंफेक्शन करने के लिए ही ये ऑटोक्लेव यूज करेंगे. आपको समझ में आया?
हाँ मैम.
सो अगर आप जो भी छोटा सा लैबोरेटरी भी आप ओपन करेंगे तो आपको सेपरेटली वेस्ट ऑटोक्लेव रखना पड़ेगा, क्योंकि लैबोरेटरी में जो भी सैंपल्स आते हैं ना, उनका थोड़ा. पूजा, यू हैव रेज्ड योर हैंड. मैं नो व्हाट इज
मैम
योर.
मेरा एक क्वेश्चन है.
हाँ, बताइए मैम.
मैम ये ऐसे जाता ही नहीं है. मैंने
हाँ
बहुत सारी जगह देखा है कि ऑटोक्लेव होके जाता ही नहीं है, डायरेक्ट डिस्कार्ड करते हैं और वो डायरेक्ट बायोमेडिकल वाले लेके जाते हैं.
हाँ, दैट इज रॉन्ग माय डियर. ऐसा नहीं करना चाहिए. आपके वैक्यूटेनर्स ब्लड ब्लड और ब्लड प्रोडक्ट से कंटामिनेटेड होते हैं.
मैम मेरा एक क्वेश्चन है.
हाँ.
जो वाइल्स होती हैं, वैक्यूम टेनर्स होते हैं, उसके अंदर ब्लड होता है लाइक 2 ml या 3 ml. तो
हम्म.
अगर हम उसको ऑटोक्लेव करेंगे या कोई तो हमें उसका अंदर का ब्लड निकाल के ऑटोक्लेव करना है या डायरेक्ट तो नहीं कर पाएंगे
आप
ना?
ऐसे भी कर सकते हैं.
ओके ओके.
ऐसे
ठीक
भी
है.
मगर ऑटोक्लेवेबल बैग्स रहते हैं ना, उसमें डाल के ऐसे ही ऑटोक्लेव कर सकते हैं.
ओके मैम.
हाँ, सभी सभी वैक्यूटेनर्स को ऑटोक्लेव करके उसके हिसाब से कहाँ पर डिस्पोज ऑफ करना है वो रूल्स के हिसाब से करना पड़ेगा.
ओके मैम.
ब्लड बैग्स को भी, ब्लड बैग्स जो यूज्ड
हाँ
रहते
वो
हैं ना,
ब्लड बैग्स.
यूज्ड या अनयूज्ड, दोनों को भी प्री ट्रीटमेंट की जरूरत है. यूज्ड है तो भी उसको करना चाहिए और अनयूज्ड है तो भी उसको करना चाहिए. मगर क्या होता है ना, बहुत सारे लोग यूज्ड ब्लड बैग को ऐसे ही येलो बैग में फेंक देते हैं. ऐसा नहीं करना है. एक सिस्टम बनाना है. जो भी यूज ब्लड ब्लड डोनेशन या ब्लड ट्रांसफ्यूजन होने के बाद वार्ड से जो भी आता है उन सबको एक जगह पर इकट्ठा करके वहां पर ऑटोक्लेव करना चाहिए. और जहां पर वेस्ट ऑटोक्लेव है वहां पर लेके आके वहां पर ऑटोक्लेव करके उसके बाद ही कॉमन ट्रीटमेंट फैसिलिटी को देना पड़ेगा. ये
ओके मैम.
थोड़ी ये नया रूल्स के हिसाब से ये सब आया है. पहले ये सब नहीं था. पहले ब्लड बैग्स को रेड में डाला जाता था, मगर अब रेड बैग्स को येलो में जाता है. ठीक है. तो ये हुआ प्रोसेस की वजह से. क्या मॉनिटरिंग करेंगे, इसको कैसे मॉनिटर करेंगे? आपके पास क्या है कि प्रूफ? अब जब भी जाते हैं ना देखने के लिए अगर सिस्टम ठीक है या नहीं है, you will find the dustbins are very clean. You are not sure whether they are actually doing the segregation or not, because there's no waste there for you to tell the segregation is proper. What do you do in such kind of scenarios? Did you understand what I'm trying to say? I'm talking things within the hospital. हर हॉस्पिटल में अपना नर्सिंग सुपरिटेंडेंट रहते हैं या नर्सेस रहते हैं. क्या करते हैं, एक टीम बनाते हैं and they'll go around all the places wherever the waste is being generated. Okay, and you will see for segregation of waste whether they're doing it properly or not. But whenever you go, you find the dustbin to be empty. That means they get to know that you're coming and they'll clean it up and keep. So you're not sure whether the segregation is appropriate or not. How do you handle this situation?
मैम सरप्राइज विजिट कर लो.
Yes, surprise visit, you have to do it. You have to do it surprisingly, and don't designate, I will come only on this day, I'll come only in the morning, I'll come only in the afternoon. No, you have to have a team which does a surprise visit and have a checklist.
And also, ma'am, in the hospital scenario, means in examination room and all, there will be a small bin. And in the backyard of the means, for example, it's a ward. Then in the backyard of the ward, there will be a bigger bin. Always check the bigger bin, so you will definitely got what will happen in the.
Oh, you know, you have to check both the bins, the smaller bin and the bigger bin, both.
Because means in our hospital setup in 24 hours 24 hours or 12 hourly one person is coming to carry the waste.
Yeah.
So if you want really, you want to quote the
So look at the bigger bin you say. So
bigger
that's what
bin.
I said. It depends on the hospital and it depends on how the systems are in place. So finally, what if you are doing it this week in the morning, you can do it in another week or in another month in the afternoon, sometimes in the night. So for us to understand where the mistake is. Now monitoring is something is not a fault finding mission. If you start pointing it out fingers and say आपने ये ठीक नहीं किया है, this is not proper, that is not proper, then people will not cooperate with you. So how do you make sense so that you can give them some marks, your points, telling them okay fine, your place, your ward has done absolutely well and there are no non compliances for this whole month. So you give them a prize, positive reinforcement ठीक करने के लिए. When you do such kind of things, it will help them to, they get motivated to do it rather than being a more of a fault finding mission. Now sometimes you will get to know that the material supply has been a problem for them, that is the reason why this mismatch is happening. Or you will get to know that one of the persons is not being trained. So even if the person is not trained, you need to have posters so that just by looking at it the person should be able to understand. Are these posters present at all the places? You need to look at it, right? The monitoring is a process where you are basically trying to find solutions for the problems. It is not a fault finding mission. If you start doing fault finding, if you start pointing fingers, things will not move in the right direction. You got it? Okay, now this is with regard to the processes where we have looked at segregation, where we have looked at the pre-treatment process, storage process, fine. Now within the hospital, administratively what we need to look at, first thing is whether the hospital has an authorization or not. Nowadays, every hospital has to display their authorization certificate stating that we have taken the authorization from the respective pollution control board. That is the first thing. Then next, whether they are displaying the amount of waste that is being generated on their website, it is another thing which you look at. Okay, and they need to keep the records of health records of the people working and the immunization records of the people waste handlers. So they need to maintain these records for the 5 years, the annual reports. Accidents, now accidents, there are two varieties. The small needle prick injuries need not be reported, but you can have a mechanism to record the needle stick injuries. It is important for us to know how many needle stick injuries happen. Why? Do you think it is important for us to know how many needle stick injuries happen?
Yes, ma'am.
Why is it important? I agree it is important. Now tell me, why is it important? What will you do telling that there are so many needle stick injuries that have happened in the last week? What does
Ma'am,
that?
documentation helps the means every year we need to submit the report to the government.
Mhm.
So every document will help.
Okay, apart
Exactly.
from this, apart from submitting the report, in what way it will help you to better your system?
Staff को training की जरूरत है मैम.
Yes, you need to train people, and it will help you find out what are the reasons for that needle stick injuries.
Okay.
Okay, you need to find out what is the reason for it. Is it anxiety because the person does not know how to handle it, or is it something else?
मैम उनको
So,
अवेयर करेंगे कि रिकैपिंग नहीं करनी, ज्यादातर निडल स्टिक इंजरी जो होती हैं वो रिकैपिंग से ही होती हैं.
हाँ, वो बात ने आप ठीक कहा डॉक्टर पूजा, मगर सिर्फ वही बात नहीं हो सकता है ना, दूसरा भी रह सकते हैं इंजरी के लिए. एक है रिकैपिंग आपने जो बताया, अगर कोई नया है उसको, उस बंदे को ठीक से अभी इनएक्सपीरियंस्ड है काम करना, तो वो हिसाब से हो जाता है ना, थोड़ा एंजाइटी की वजह से,
और
या फिर या फिर हाथ से शार्प इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स पास करने पर, तो ये सब ट्रेनिंग देना पड़ता है, जैसे आपने बताया अवेयरनेस देना देना पड़ता है। तो इसलिए इट इज इम्पोर्टेंट फॉर अस टू मॉनिटर द नीडल स्टिक इंजरीज apart from the report process. It is for the betterment of your own systems and the betterment of your own people. You need to monitor the needle stick injuries. और क्या क्या मॉनिटर करेंगे आप हर हफ्ते मॉनिटर करेंगे, हर रोज करेंगे, या फिर 2 हफ्ते में एक बार, महीने में एक बार, कैसे करेंगे आप? वो अपने हिसाब से कर सकते हैं। अगर हॉस्पिटल का सिस्टम्स नए हैं और लोगों को पता नहीं, तो फिर हर हफ्ते करना बेहतर रहेगा। सिस्टम आपने एस्टैब्लिश किया है, सब लोगों को ट्रेन किया है, तो 2 हफ्ते में एक बार कर सकते हैं। सभी लोग का ट्रेनिंग हो गया और बहुत सालों से चल रहा है, तो महीने में एक बार कर सकते हैं आप। ठीक है, सरप्राइज रहना चाहिए आपको, एक चेकलिस्ट लेके ये सब है या नहीं है बोल के टिक करके जाना पड़ेगा। तो अब जब भी आप पेपर या फिर सॉफ्ट कॉपी यूज करते हैं, आपके पास यू विल हैव द एविडेंस दैट यू हैव डन इट, और किसी एडमिनिस्ट्रेटर के पास भी ये एविडेंस रहेगा कि हमने मॉनिटरिंग भी करे हैं, वी आर डूइंग द मॉनिटरिंग आल्सो एंड वी आर ट्राइंग टू सी दैट द सिस्टम्स आर इन प्लेस। दिस इज एन एडवांटेज ऑफ इट। ठीक है, देन what are the other things? This is what happens in a hospital. What about the common treatment facility personnel? Does anybody monitor them, या फिर खुली छूट रखी है कि आप जो चाहो करो, ऐसा है? इस पूजा या मीरा और रविंद्रा और सुरभि, whoever it is, who monitors the common treatment facility?
मैम नहीं पता।
नहीं पता? पोल्यूशन कंट्रोल बोर्ड विल डू इट। ठीक है,
डीपीसीसी। ओके
हाँ,
ओके ओके
जो भी
मैम।
पोल्यूशन कंट्रोल बोर्ड,
ओके
अगर
मैम।
आप कौन सी भी स्टेट पोल्यूशन कंट्रोल बोर्ड, अपने रूल्स के हिसाब से देयर समथिंग कॉल्ड एज डिस्ट्रिक्ट मॉनिटरिंग कमेटी।
यस मैम।
डिस्ट्रिक्ट मॉनिटरिंग कमेटी है, ये डिस्ट्रिक्ट मॉनिटरिंग कमेटी का काम है, हर एवरी जनरेटर दे हैव टू मॉनिटर। व्हाट डू दे मॉनिटर इन द कॉमन बायोमेडिकल वेस्ट ट्रीटमेंट फैसिलिटी? पहले सेग्रीगेटेड वेस्ट आ रहा है कि नहीं, एंड हाउ मच क्वांटिटी ऑफ वेस्ट दे आर रिसीविंग, कितने हॉस्पिटल से वो ले रहे हैं और कितना आ रहा है वेस्ट और कितना ट्रीट हो रहा है। फाइनल डिस्पोजल मैकेनिज्म्स हमारे पास क्या है? इंसिनरेशन है, ऑटोक्लेव है और एक श्रेडर है। जो भी येलो में रहता उनको इंसिनरेटर में डाल देते हैं। इंसिनरेटर डालने के बाद क्या होता है, आपको मिलेगा सिर्फ, क्या बोलते हैं उसको आप हिंदी में, पता नहीं,
ऐश, राख।
राख। वो राख मिल जाएगा आपको। वो राख कैसा है उसके हिसाब से पता कर सकते हैं कि इंसिनरेशन ठीक से काम कर रहा है या नहीं। ठीक है, और दूसरी बात है ऑटोक्लेव। ऑटोक्लेव जब भी करते हैं हम, उनका उनका भी कितना टेम्परेचर तक गया, कितना प्रेशर उसने मेंटेन किया, और जो भी वेस्ट ऑटोक्लेव होने के बाद जो आता है ना, उसको श्रेड करके मतलब छोटे छोटे पीसेस करके उसे एक ऑथराइज्ड डीलर या ऑथराइज्ड रिसाइकलर को बेच देंगे। ठीक है, तो जितना भी वेस्ट उनको आता है उसका हिसाब, और जितना वो ऑथराइज्ड डीलर के पास ऑथराइज्ड रिसाइकलर को दे रहा है, ये सब हिसाब ठीक से रहना पड़ेगा। और जितना वेस्ट इंसिनरेटर करके उसने राख कर दिया, ये all these things need to be tallied. This is done by the district monitoring committee. उनका भी एक चेकलिस्ट रहता, इंसिनरेशन ठीक से काम कर रहा है या नहीं, कितना फ्यूल यूज करते, कितना टेम्परेचर प्राइमरी चेंबर में जाता, सेकेंडरी चेंबर में टेम्परेचर कितना हद तक जाता, उसके बाद पोल्यूशन कंट्रोल मेजर्स कुछ यूज कर रहे हैं या नहीं, ये सब चेकलिस्ट में रहता है। ठीक है। और ऑटोक्लेव का भी, दिस इज समथिंग अपार्ट फ्रॉम द चेकलिस्ट, every common treatment facility have to link this information online to the pollution control board। ये ऑनलाइन मॉनिटरिंग करते हैं इंसिनरेटर का और ऑटोक्लेव का। ठीक है। ऑनलाइन दे विल गिव यू अ मैकेनिज्म, जितना टेम्परेचर जा रहा है, कितना प्रेशर जा रहा है, और प्रेशर है ऑटोक्लेव में, कितना देर तक आपने ऑटोक्लेव किया, ये सब डिटेल्स उनको रियल टाइम मिल जाते हैं for pollution control board to monitor the common treatment facility person. Next comes waste water। waste water को कैसे handle करते हैं, that also is something which the common treatment facilities are monitored by the state pollution control board people। जैसा हम लोग ऑथराइजेशन लेते हैं ना, वैसे उनको भी ऑथराइजेशन है, मगर थोड़ा अलग सा है। अपने यहाँ बेड्स रहते, उनके यहाँ कितने बेड्स को सर्विस देते वो आ जाता है उनको। ठीक है। तो वो भी ऑथराइजेशन लेना है, उसका ऑथराइजेशन भी वैलिड रहना चाहिए, बिकॉज ही इज treating the waste and disposing the waste. So therefore he also needs to maintain these records, and the records of the incinerator and the autoclave. Apart from that, he has to maintain जो भी कॉमन ट्रीटमेंट फैसिलिटी में काम करते हैं ना, उनका भी ट्रेनिंग होना चाहिए, उनका भी हेल्थ चेकअप होना चाहिए, उनको भी पर्सनल प्रोटेक्टिव डिवाइसेस देना चाहिए। ये सब का हिसाब किताब वो रखना चाहिए, क्योंकि कभी भी दे कैन आस्क यू टू सबमिट दिस रिकॉर्ड्स। So at least for 5 years they have to maintain these records. So there is something called as a district monitoring committee in every district। ठीक है। what do they do and who constitute the district monitoring committee? The district monitoring committee में you will have representation from the common biomedical waste treatment facility, a representation from the hospitals, and the district magistrate will be the chairman for it, one representative or representatives from the pollution control board or any other NGO or anybody else which the district monitoring committee can thinks that these people are doing good job, and then they can add them. Their job is to monitor all the hospitals and the common treatment facility that is present in that particular district. The district monitoring committee should maintain the records. If they feel somebody is not doing well, what action they have taken, what have they warned them or have they penalized them, मतलब फाइन कुछ डाला है, and how many times this district monitoring committee has met, and क्या resolution पास किया है, क्या क्या discuss किया है, all these things need to be recorded and maintained by the district monitoring committee. Agreed? Any questions you have?
No, ma'am.
No questions? Anything? Are you a part of any monitoring committee in your own hospitals?
No, ma'am, I'm not a part of any monitoring committee. I'm working as a nursing officer.
As a
Nursing officer.
nursing officer. So you can ask some of your own people to do the monitoring in your hospital. You can give
No,
them a checklist.
monitoring is there, but means I'm in the ground level.
It is happening in the ground level. Huh?
Yeah.
Hmm. So you
No,
can.
no, ma'am. In my hospital setup, it's in my opinion, that is doing very smoothly.
Yeah, it is doing smoothly. Even then, sometimes monitoring will really help you to.
Yeah, proper monitoring is there, ma'am. In our ward setup also means we used to monitor that what time this waste has been taken from our ward.
Hmm.
That all things we are monitoring properly.
Okay, good. If
Documentation,
monitoring.
documentation is doing properly.
Okay, very good. If it is being done, it is very nice. You can share your experience with the others also, how it is being done and other things. So that way it will be easier for people to follow also. There are times when it is difficult because of resource crunch. Waste management is always given a least importance, right? Whenever there's a resource crunch, you need to find a way out how best you can do it. As a nursing officer, whenever you go out for a rounds, you can do it when there is a resource crunch and there's nobody else to do it. You can designate one or two people to do that job as a routine during the routine job itself. Yes, if there are no doubts and if there are no questions to ask, can I close this class?
Ma'am, this session was very informative. Thank you so much, ma'am.
And one more thing, in this block floor, whatever they've looked at the rules, and they've also looked at rules in other countries, like say Bhutan, all the Southeast Asian regions, Bhutan, Nepal, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, all these places. In some places it comes under the environmental law. In some places, only in India we have a separate rule. In some other things, it is combined with the other rules which is there, and then they have taken it up like that. So it differs from state to state. You need to go through the different countries, how the rules are there for each of those countries. In Block 4, this is what is there, and you may have questions regarding monitoring or district monitoring committee. You may get some questions on that in your term and examination. Okay, if there's nothing, then I will stop this. Thank you for a patient hearing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.